So women's rights are going backwards around the world, and before somebody jumps into the comments to tell me that women are just overreacting again, this is coming from the United Nations, okay? A UN report from this year found that nearly 1 in 4 countries reported setbacks in women's rights and gender equality. 1 in 4, okay? That's not exactly a fringe problem anymore. The report also restated a stat that we've come to know now very well, that one woman or girl is unalived every 10 minutes by a partner or family member somewhere in the world. Okay, every 10 minutes. So that means that by the time most of us are finishing watching a couple of TikTok videos here, another woman has been unalived. The report also says that 612 million women and girls are now living in conflict zones, which is a 50% increase over the last decade. And these women are facing higher risks of sexual violence, displacement, loss of health care, loss of education, and loss of legal protections. The report also warns about the growing attacks on reproductive rights and a global backlash against gender equality. The UN Women Executive Director, Sima Abbas, said that girls and women's rights are facing unprecedented growing threats worldwide. She also said that when women and girls can rise, we can all thrive. And yet globally, women's human rights are under attack. And then the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, came out and said something that honestly should have been a much bigger headline than it was. He said, instead of mainstreaming equal rights, we are seeing the mainstreaming of misogyny. The mainstreaming of misogyny. And that is the freaking Secretary General of the United Nations that's saying that, okay? Not some feminist creator on the internet, not an activist, the United Nation. Okay? And that is the part that gets me, because women have been talking about this for years. Okay? We've been talking about the rise of anti-feminist influencers. We've been talking about the way that social media is rewarding outrage and resentment and hostility towards women. We've been talking about the attacks on our reproductive rights. We've been talking about the way that violence against women is getting minimized and excused and laughed at, or worse, even turned into content, right? And every single time somebody shows up in the comment section and tells us that we're just imagining these things. Meanwhile, the freaking United Nations is over here publishing reports saying that nearly a quarter of countries are reporting setbacks in women's rights and that misogyny itself is becoming mainstream. So I'm just wondering, at what point do we stop acting like women are making this stuff up? Because I don't know how much more obvious it needs to get, okay? And I want to talk directly to the women that are listening to me right now. If you're sitting there thinking that somebody else is going to deal with this, that somebody else is going to fight for your rights, that somebody else is going to speak up for you, I really need you to understand that every right you enjoy today exists because women before you refused to stay quiet